I were in power, that's what I am. These people want you to be free trainers, a green light, clean men, constantly attack, groom and rape our children. Think about all of the groups out there that read that article. Think about, what is this now? Is this now going to set a precedent of defence for every single groomer that gets convicted or gets brought in front of the court? What are they going to do? Say, oh, well, like that other fella, I thought that she was older than 12. I thought she was older than 13. So the judge will say, oh, well, that's all right then. You know, she was giving you the come on. A 12-year-old. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on in this nation. Like, it is sickening beyond belief. It really is. Anyway, I'm going to show you some positive stuff. I've been ranting. I've started off with some ranting, but I'm going to show you some positive stuff from the weekend. So, at the weekend, we were out in Southend West. There you go. There's one of the pictures from the evening. As you can see, it's dark at this point. We went down to the seafront and got a little snap. And there's us with all of our leaflets. And those leaflets went through the door throughout the constituency. It was really good. Really, really good weekend. Lots of action this weekend, actually. But that was really great. I mean, we've got some fantastic activists. We really do. And then afterwards, we went and had a little drink, as you do. We had a bite to eat as well, but that was lovely. You know what I really liked? I liked that. Obviously, the work comes first, right? The activism comes first. So we've got to get the job done. But I do very much enjoy, after we've got the job done, just sitting and having a little bit of a social, and that's what we did. Afterwards, after we went round the doors, and we were out for hours, we got a really good system in place. It was the dream team, and we spoke to some wonderful people, and we got people stopped and said how fantastic the newspaper is and all the rest of it. Excellent stuff. Yeah, so after a good day's work, we sat and we had a little drink, had a bite to eat, and it was really great. And of course, across the course of this week, we're out campaigning. As I said, if people want to get involved, feel free. You'd be more than welcome. And of course, we've got all the elections that are coming up in May. We're going to need people out on the streets. We need people out on the streets anyway.
Hello everybody, I'm outside the King's Road Reformed Church in Southend. I'm here today with the British Freedom Party's team. We are going to be delivering leaflets and the Freedom newspaper in the Southend constituency. Jayda Fransen, of course, is an independent candidate in the Southend West by-election this coming Thursday. I mean, on the way travelling here, I've been listening to talk radio, and they seem to be fixated. The word fat shaming is the new one that the Walker throwing around. This comes from Boris Johnson. It was quite a good response actually to Ian Blackford in Prime Minister's question time. Boris Johnson said to Ian Blackford, he basically mocked. We were talking about the Partygate fiasco, and Boris Johnson simply responded with, well, between us two, it looks like you've been eating more cake than me, basically. The Walker going mad about it. Fat shaming is the new word for the Walker flying around. They're saying it's offensive. But, no, that's just banter. What is offensive, though, is the fact that Boris Johnson implemented these tyrannical, draconian laws, telling people that they couldn't go outside the house and mix with people who wasn't in their bubble. We also had the fiasco with pubs had to close. I think it was before 9 or 10 o'clock, because after 9, 10 o'clock, the rhetoric they were throwing out about this deadly virus. I mean, it seemed to. I don't know what the idea behind that was. Maybe we were trying to say it became more infectious after 10. I don't know. They've just been destroying lives, destroying the economy. And the whole time that he was doing that, Boris Johnson and his government was having constant party after party, breaking the rules that they set out, So they implemented rules. They broke the rules. They was laughing at everybody. They was having weren't just birthday cake, takeaways. Keir Starmer as well. Don't forget him. Instead of it being an illegal wine and cheese gathering, it was apparently he said it wasn't as bad because it was a takeaway and beer gathering. Same thing. So more and more now people are waking up to these rule makers. Do as I say, not as I do. And yeah, I'm hoping that they're going to get a shock this election, and it's not a wasted vote to vote for Jayda Fransen, who's standing as an independent candidate. I mean, it wasn't long ago. I remember Parliament. There was an uproar because Donald Trump had retweeted Jayda Fransen. I remember, I think Theresa May was the Prime Minister and the opposition was crying out, saying that Britain should end all ties with America simply because Donald Trump tweeted Jayda Fransen. So nothing could send a bigger message to the Tory government than voting for Jayda Fransen. The more votes she gets in this election, the more the Tory party are going to be scared. Let's send a fear into their lives and let's vote for Jayda Fransen, Southend West. Let's have a look at the leaflet that Jayda has. My phone's playing up at the minute, but yeah, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that leaflet and see what the policies for points that Jayda Fransen. She's not held back here with the leaflet, and every single point on that leaflet is 100% facts. While the tyrants parted, families were torn apart by lockdowns. 37,816 illegal invaders crossed the channel. And that's just the number we know about. Who knows what the real number is? UK terror threat level was raised to severe. Yes, we all remember the taxi bomber in Liverpool that happened. I think it was summer, could have been the end of summer. Don't know the exact month, but we all remember that terrorist with a bomb. Well, it turns out that very person had the claim for asylum refused 6 years prior, and there was 0 attempts by this government to deport him. People were forced to die alone on COVID wards. And of course, when these people had funerals, many members of the family wasn't allowed to attend their loved one's funeral because it went against the draconian government's COVID laws. Yet at the whole time at 10 Downing Street, it was one big party, literally one big party. Garden party after garden party. Do as I say, not as I do. They clearly see themselves above the law, and the rules that they make don't apply to them. This is not conservative. Track and trace vaccine passports. Mass sackings of unjabbed NHS and care workers. Now, they seem to be backtracking on the NHS sackings now, and that's very good news. the care workers. The care workers, 80,000 care workers did get sacked for. And then literally overnight, the government came up with a solution. They said there's a mass shortage of care workers. Of course there was, because they'd just sacked 80,000 care workers who wasn't jabbed and didn't want to get jabbed. So they created temporary passports for foreign work, a foreign work base, to come and take their jobs, the jobs that the government had sacked, on a 5-year temporary visa. But we all know if you stay here for 5 years and you want to stay here, you will stay here permanently. What happened to Boris and his green agenda? That, it's just a pipe dream. COVID neutral by 2050. That's not going to happen. Surely, overpopulation isn't very green. Yet Boris Johnson isn't doing anything. He's actually doing the opposite and opening our borders after he promised that the borders would be closed, and that's why people voted for Brexit. Do you remember that? All the promises of reducing immigration, closing the borders, the complete opposite is happening under Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party's government. Let's have a look at the next point on the leaflet. Migrants in 5-star hotels whilst pensioners are freezing. Yes, the illegal migrants, the 37,816 that we know of, are being housed in 5-star hotels whilst our pensioners are freezing. British pensioners are freezing. Illegal migrants are in 5-star hotels. Of course, this is all at the cost of you and me, the taxpayer. And the last one is a picture of a Conservative MP. That, of course, is Sir David Ames, the former MP of Southend West, and he was assassinated in broad daylight by a Somali refugee. And there's a picture of him holding a sign saying, "I believe every refugee matters." "25,000 Afghan migrants welcomed to the UK by this government. This is on top of the 37,816 illegal invaders, and up to 3 million. The promise the government gave were up to 3 million people from Hong Kong can now walk into Britain and take up British citizenship. It's yes. Well, the tyrants parted and they locked us down, wanting people to stay in their bubbles, not walking out in more than groups of 6, or all these rules that they didn't obey to. Each and every day, the borders have been opened, the floodgates have been opened, and people from all over the world can just walk in and take up citizenship or get 5-star hotel service at the cost of the taxpayer. This is not Conservative. Another pledge of Mr. Boris Johnson and the Conservative government is to raise the national. They're going to raise national insurance, rising energy bills, raising tax after tax, and this is all coming in the next couple of months. A rise in national insurance tax on top of the energy bill taxes and the rising cost of living under this government. He's already destroyed much of the economy through his draconian lockdowns and the rules that he wasn't obeying himself. He was partying having party after party and not obeying the rules himself. But this all has destroyed the economy in this country. Now, these tax rises that are going to come in are going to slow down the economy even more. Brexit Britain was supposed to be, and could be, a nation of low tax and high growth. But not under Boris Johnson or the Conservatives. It's like as though they are intentionally destroying the economy. All in the name of the green agenda, as he keeps banging on. It's like you vote blue, you get green, and it turns into red. The people of Southend West should be furious that whilst we was all having these draconian lockdown laws inflicted upon us, and at the same time being brainwashed by this government's Project Fear, lies and propaganda. You should be furious that many people couldn't attend their loved ones' funerals because it went against the government's draconian, tyrannical COVID laws. And Boris Johnson himself wasn't. He thought them rules didn't apply to him and he was having garden party. There seems to be a culture in this government and at Town Downing Street of parties and alcohol and not much work being done. To try and save his job, Boris Johnson he keeps talking a lot about the possibility of the Ukraine being invaded by Russians. Yet he isn't doing anything about this country being invaded on the English Channel. The mass sackings of unjabbed NHS and care workers speaks for itself. This government has crossed the line. Suggesting and sacking workers because they choose not to take a medical procedure. That really is sickening, and these people, you shouldn't. Nobody should vote for these people in this by-election, Southend West. We don't need to talk about the Labour Party because they're not in the election, but they are just as bad as the Tory. They are both two sides of the same coin in many ways. They do not represent the British people. They do not represent the people that voted for them, and they never will represent them people. They serve somebody, but it's not the people. So the people shouldn't vote for these people. The people shouldn't vote for these parties that are not going to serve them. I hope many voters realise that in this by-election and vote for Jayda Fransen. We've been campaigning in Southend. We're still campaigning and we'll be campaigning right up until the election on Thursday. And we've been getting some great feedback whilst we've been going out on the doorstep canvassing, giving out the Freedom newspaper, which is Jayda Fransen edits that paper, and her leaflets. We've been getting great feedback, and I'm hoping that turns into votes on Thursday. I will end the video with a clip from the World Economic Forum. Boris Johnson really does love to serve this organisation. That's who he serves, not the people who voted for him. And yes, I'll end the clip with someone claiming, she's clearly saying that she is one of the elite. And the elite who Boris Johnson serve, let's see what they don't seem too concerned about the people waking up to the elite. What will make them concerned is when they start losing seats. So if you like what's on Jayda Fransen's leaflet or in Jayda Fransen's Freedom newspaper, then please vote Jayda Fransen on Thursday.
At Davos a few years ago, the Edelman survey showed us that the good news is the elite across the world trust each other more and more. So we can come together and design and do beautiful things together. The bad news is that in every single country they were polling, the majority of people trusted that elite less. So we can lead, but